All right, welcome everyone. It's so good to have you for our monthly bonus call. I am always thrilled, and more people are coming to these calls. What it tells me is it's time. And what is it time for? It's time for the world to recognize that energy is everything, and it's the key to our health. And I bet a lot of you have been hearing me speak on these telesummits and on all the health podcasts. The world is waking up big time. And this is here to stay. This is no fad diet. Energy, frequency, vibration. What the heck are we talking about? I have back pain. I can't stop eating. I can't lose weight. I can't sleep at night. What does that have to do with energy, vibration, and frequency? So I'm here tonight to shake you up a bit. If this is new for you, if you're skeptical, no problem. I'm so glad you're here. And I don't know what brought you here, but I promise you, you're here for a reason, even though you might not be ready for it in your mind. You are ready for it on some level, or you wouldn't be here. So do your best to stay open to what I'm about to share with you. We have to hear this new message a lot. It takes time for it to sink in because we're so programmed to think, where does it hurt? Take a pill, cut it out, drug it out, right? And I bet a lot of you have been on that trail. How many of you either raise your hand or give me a heart or some love down there in the reaction panel? How many of you are here because you either have some kind of physical pain or emotional pain like depression, anxiety, or you have had some kind of illness or symptom that's driving you nuts? You can't sleep, you can't digest, you can't travel, you can't move the way you want to. Perhaps you've got heart palpitations and they find nothing on a medical test. Look at all the hands going up and all the love, right? And you may be here for, you've been told your thyroid's out of whack, but nothing's working. Or you've been told it's genetics. Or you've been told there's nothing we can do for you. You're going to have to live with this. So I want to make a bold statement, but I also want to be very clear. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to give you medical advice. Everything you do with your health practitioner, everything with your health is in your own hands. But I want to offer you a new understanding that's outside the box of conventional thinking and conventional wisdom and conventional health wisdom, that offers a new and different perspective on health and healing. And with that new perspective, I do want to say something very bold, which is I have come to believe and see with my own eyes that pretty much everything can and does change. Pretty much everything can heal, even if the current way of thinking about it is, oh, that can never change. I've seen it, folks, over and over and over. I've worked with people in over 160 countries now, as shocking as that still sounds to me. And people all over the world have been able to finally make some changes that some of these people, many of you, I see some of the faces, you've been working on yourself for decades, many of you, and many people have literally, right, Nicola? Many people have spent literally, I work with people from all ages. From yesterday, I worked on a 9-year-old and then an 11-year-old. And then, tomorrow it will be someone in their 80s, and many people, 30s, 40s, 50s, it doesn't matter. Age is not the issue. It doesn't matter if you've been struggling for 60 years with something. It is changeable. And why is that? Because everything is energy. Please write that down, and I'll explain what I want you to get tonight. And I'm hoping tonight it just clicks and all the lights go on for you. Everything is energy, vibration, and frequency. And what included in the everything is your body. And not just your body, You might be here because your finances are always a mess, or your romances are always a mess, or you cannot hold down a job, or you cannot find your purpose in life. Anything in your physical reality is made of energy, vibration, and frequency. It's information, and it's a different way of understanding information than what we've been taught. We've been taught you read something in a book, that's information. What I'm talking about is vibrational information. Now just sit with that for a minute. Vibrational information. Now, you all know what music is. You've all heard sounds before. That's vibrational information. We don't call it that, so it seems foreign. But guess what? Your body, your pain, your symptoms, whatever you've got going on in your physical life is also vibrational information, just like music. But we don't typically talk about it that way or think about it that way. Open your mind now, stay with me. If you could see your body under a very high-powered piece of equipment, you would see it's not solid. It's a vibrating mass of particles of energy and light. You are a light machine and don't even know it. And your light gets dimmed and disturbed by many experiences in life. People, things you've been told, things you watched, information that you took in. Now, that information may have been in the form of food or drugs, or podcasts, or toxins, or pollution. Information is everywhere present in different forms, and you're taking it in all the time. The question is, are you holding on to things that disturb your vibration? Do you know how to release them, dissolve them, integrate them, digest them? Do you know how to digest life? Because your body is a reflection of your information field. The information field is an extension of your physical body. You can't see your field. I can feel your field, but you can't see your field. You may not even know you have a field. Very few people talk about this yet, but more and more are, and there's more and more science. And for some reason, we've made scientific information into kind of a demigod. So lots of people will see the scientific information, the written information, right? And they'll believe that. That's fine. But there's information you're getting all the time, and you have an inner guidance system that's teaching you or trying to, but you may not trust it because you haven't learned yet, perhaps, to listen and to understand the messages that your body's trying to give you. And it's giving you information about your entire life, not just your physical health. Your body is a feedback machine. It's your best friend. And we have spent decades just trying to get the body to stop giving us the information we need the most. Now, this is upside down and backwards, in my opinion, and in my way of understanding.
Oh, no, it's not a profile picture. I don't want a profile picture.
Would you all please mute your phones and keep them muted? Thank you. This is upside down and backwards in the way that I have come to understand how health and healing works. If you have a guitar, beautiful guitar with all the strings, but the strings go out of tune, it doesn't play great music anymore. When you tune up the strings, the instrument plays again. You are an instrument. And you go out of tune from many different reasons over time. You may have even come in your birth experience, may have caused disturbances in your strings. You may have had accidents or injuries or surgeries that went bad, or You may have grown up with abuse or had abuse somewhere along the line. You may have been witness to or part of a violent situation, a shocking situation, a series of losses. You may have had painful bosses, spouses, children. You may have lived alone and found that painful. You may not understand the connection between life, your thoughts, your emotions, and your physical body. And I'm telling you, they are all interconnected. They are not separate. And they're all either in tune or out of tune. We're constantly collecting information. We live in an ocean of information. And again, this is not something you might be able to see with the visible eye. When you look out at space, it looks empty, like nothing going on. There's everything going on in that space. We are immersed in a field, an energy field. We're part of a gigantic field where we're all interconnected and where there's tremendous information constantly. But we haven't learned to tune into it, to listen to it, to trust it, to follow, to be in sync like the animals do. We're the only animals that don't follow the connection. And yet you don't see the animals or any other part of nature struggling. They follow the information. They follow a blueprint of information that they come in with. We've come in with it too. But we have been given the intellectual ability to override it. I'm not sure that's been very helpful in many ways. I'm not against intellect. I think it's great to use our mind, and the mind is designed to think. But we've lost a connection to the instinctual guidance that we all have. And nature's pretty darn simple, I have found. You are either in ease and flow on the blueprint trail, or you've stepped off of it and you may experience dis-ease, things not flowing, feeling like you're lacking something or something is wrong or off and you can't figure it out. Anybody ever had that experience? Like you feel something's off, right, Josh? And you can't figure it out, and you keep trying to figure it out, and you stay up here in the head trying to figure it out, trying to figure it out. I hear this all day long from people, and I spent 14 years myself doing it, driving myself nuts, unable to sleep, trying to figure out what was wrong with me, nothing showing up on a test, or what did show up on a test, what they gave me didn't work. Why? Because it's a Band-Aid. It's not getting down to the roots. And the roots of health, whether it's health of physical body, health of relationships, health of finances, health of romances, it doesn't matter. Everything is energy, including money, yes. And when you understand, have a better understanding of energy and how you're using it, and you're either in sync with it and flowing or you're not, life starts to change for the better or the worse. See, the key to everything is the way we are, what we're doing with the energy we're taking in. And some of you aren't even taking it in. You've just put a wall up and you stay in here in a little bubble, going over and over and over the same thoughts. This is deadly, because if you want something to change, everything has to change in the mind and the emotions. And most people think the same thoughts like 90,000 times a day. The same thoughts over and over. That is not going to solve the problem, I promise you. You'd be better off never thinking about it than thinking the same thoughts over and over and over. Even Einstein said, you can't solve the problem at the level of mind that created the problem to begin with. We need a higher consciousness. All right? Are you with me? We have to see things like from the airplane view, from a new view, out a different window. We have to think about it, feel it, look at it from a different perspective. The same actions will get us the same results. And you've heard that saying, right? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. It doesn't work. So in order to move forward, we have to change some things. Number one, our habits of thought. Number two, our habits of emotion. And number three, our energy field. The energy field's the fastest way to even affect the thoughts and the emotions. But it's typically not the first choice that in the health world people look towards. But this is changing. It really should be our first choice, not our last. Your thoughts and your emotions are energy, but they're subtle forms of energy that you can't see or touch or taste or smell or hold on to. Now, I don't know about you, but many people I talk to think that they're imagining things. Like if they can't see it and touch it, it's make believe somehow. It's just imaginary and it has no relevancy or no power or isn't helpful or isn't real. Okay, buckle your seatbelt because this shakes up a lot of people. But this is the problem, is that the invisible realm is actually the precursor to everything in the physical realm. And this is misunderstood. It's been understood for thousands of years by many different tribes and cultures and spiritual traditions, which have unfortunately gotten labeled as woo-woo. But here is the reality that the new science, and it's not even that new in science, but the biofield science, or you look at, it's called by different names. Biofield science is a good thing to Google if you're interested in this. The invisible realm is the precursor, meaning it comes first. Subtle energy flows into and becomes physical energy. We're not even looking in the right place. We're looking at the end result, the effect. If you're looking in your body to solve a problem, you're looking at the effect, not the cause. Think about that. I'm going to say that again. Write it down. If you're looking in the body to solve a problem, or your bank account to solve a problem, you're looking in the wrong place. You're looking at the effect, not the cause. Now, if you get that, you're going to start to get excited because this changes the entire game of what's possible. Are you with me for that one? This is why it's the most exciting thing you could ever do to be here on this call, because it tells me you're open to some new possibilities. You're willing to stretch and go beyond what's considered common conventional thinking. That's what we need around here. In case you haven't noticed, and I'm sure you have, the world's a mess. It's a mess. It's undeniable. And that's because we're trying to do these band-aids and we're not getting to the roots. It doesn't matter if you're looking at education, healthcare, children, adults, politics. I don't care what it is. We're not looking at the roots. So we need to understand that every bit of energy that we send out is very powerful. You're sending it out all the time through your thoughts and your emotions and your actions. Do you know that you could be thinking horrible thoughts about yourself or someone else, and you might think you're getting away with it, but it's affecting you. And other people feel it too. Now, I bet there's at least 2/3 of you who would say to me, if I ask you to raise your hand, do you notice what other people are feeling? Are you affected by what other people are feeling and thinking? And you can feel it even when they're thinking it, right? You're around certain people and you just get a vibe and you're like, I can't be around them. They're too negative. They're toxic. They're I can feel it. It's affecting me. I bring it home. I have to get away from them. I have to get alone. See, thoughts and emotions are powerful. Look at all the hands going up. It works in both directions. You're doing that and you're receiving that. And until you get a better sense of the power of your thoughts and emotions and how you're using them, and you become more conscious about this, you'll feel like invisible victim. Things are happening to me. I don't understand it. Why does this keep happening to me? Why do I feel so drained when I'm around so-and-so? Why do I feel energized when I go there, or I listen to that, or I talk to this person? Energy's everywhere present, and it's affecting you. And you're not the victim of it. You just haven't learned all the skills, perhaps, that you need to utilize so that you're not negatively affected, and you're not affecting others in a negative way either. It does work both ways. There's another word being thrown around lately that probably a lot of you have heard, and that's the word consciousness. And the ultimate understanding of health, of life, of the physical world. And stay with me here, because I'm going a little further out there than I normally go. I just feel like I need to tonight, and that you guys can handle it. So everything we see in the physical world is actually a reflection of the state of consciousness of the majority of the people on the planet. And what you see in your life is a reflection of your state of consciousness. And I'll go so far to say your own body is a reflection of your state of consciousness. It's not just happening for no reason. The back pain, the energy drain, the exhaustion, these things don't just happen. Tumors, cysts, ulcers. Our consciousness is made up of our thoughts and our emotions. The majority of the time we're thinking during the day. They've shown in science labs, 90,000 thoughts a day is the average, what the average person is thinking. And that the average person is really repeating just a handful of thoughts 90,000 times a day. You better take a good look at your thoughts. Because what if those thoughts are, oh, I'm so stupid. I'll never amount to anything. I never get what I want. Nothing good ever happens to me. I'll never heal. This is incurable. What if those are your predominant thoughts, 90,000 thoughts a day? We have a problem if that's what's going on. And that is what I find is going on with most people. They're not aware of how powerful their thoughts are. It's a force as real as electricity. And follow me here, because thoughts generate an emotion. An emotional reaction is connected to every thought. Now, you may not be aware of the thoughts and only aware of the emotions. And some of you are aware of the thoughts, but you're not aware of the emotions. I find it's more common to be aware of the thoughts. And then when I say, well, how does that make you feel? I get, that's a good question. We live in a culture that teaches us to keep the emotions to yourself. And in fact, don't bring them here. Don't talk about them. Don't express them. They make you look weak or silly or immature or unprofessional or foolish. Why do you think so many people, the minute they start to cry, you know what they do? Oh, I'm so sorry. They apologize for having a hardwired into your DNA reaction called crying to release. Crying, all mammals cry. Why? It's a release. We're designed to release emotions and pain and pent-up energy. And how many people stop themselves from crying, particularly if you're a man, and just hold it in, hold it down. Don't even do it alone at home. wonder why their sinuses are always clogged up, or they feel pressure. We have learned to shut down emotions. I worked with a young child earlier this week, suffering from panic attacks and anxious all the time, can't sleep, can't digest, filled with emotions that she's been holding in her entire life. And the minute they started to come up when I worked on her and had a conversation with her, the relief, by the end of the call, her eyes were twinkling, she's smiling. You could see her taking deep breaths. We're teaching our children to just hold it in. Now, what if you've been doing that for 40, 50, 60, 70 years? Think about a fire hose with water that's supposed to flow out when you turn it on. You open the valve, the water flows. What if you start squeezing the fire hose and you don't let the water out? It will start bulging and bulging and eventually it bursts. That's what happens and why so many people are suffering. Emotions aren't coming out. There are thoughts, they generate an emotion. The emotions generate more thoughts. The thoughts generate more emotions. The emotions generate more thoughts. And you go round and round in this revolving door and you can't get out. You're trying to get out of the building, you can't get out. And then we think harder and more often and Dr. Google it and research and read and think and think and think, right? And then the panic sets in because you can't figure it out. You'll see conflicting information 24 hours a day. You'll see one study and then the other that says, oh, that's 100% not true, right? So you get confused. And then when you get confused, you don't do anything because you feel overwhelmed and you don't know what to do with that feeling. So the key to everything, my friends, is to recognize that every decision you're making is coming from an emotion. And your emotions are connected to your thoughts. And we have to look at this as a three-pronged approach where we get much more skilled at examining the thoughts and questioning them and examining the other thoughts that people dump on you and give to you and tell you, well, this is what you should do. And this is true. When other people tell you what you should be thinking or what you should do, or we need to be a little more questioning and feel into it to see if you resonate with it. Because going back to the energy field, which by the way is just principles from physics, it's science. I didn't make it up. It's all based on resonance. We resonate. We're in harmony with certain ideas, certain people. That's why certain people feel good to you. It's why certain places feel good to you. Certain courses, that's why you're here. Something in you resonated with something I said that you heard before or that you read. And it made you either feel something. Who can relate to this? You felt something. You didn't understand what the hell I was saying, but you felt something. So you decided to sign up, right? Look at the hands. Yeah, that's called resonance. And if you've ever met someone and immediately you just liked them so much, or immediately you said, oh my God, I don't want to be around this person, but you didn't even know them. Where does that come from? It's called vibrational resonance. It's the music. It's the information. It's the vibrational information. Everything can be tuned up. That's what you're looking for. And you've lost touch with the power inside yourself and to what I call God or the universe or nature. You lost the tuning fork. You didn't lose it. You just feel disconnected from it. You didn't lose it, by the way. You can never lose it. And when you think you're on your own and you're alone and you're just all in your head, you will feel more and more disconnected. This is the tricky part for those of you that are more analytical, and most people are. So I'm not judging you. I'm just saying when you've spent a lifetime in the left side of your brain with a very analytical thought process, a linear step by step, do this, learn that, do this, learn that, do this, you're missing out on a way to tap into the information field in a way where you could get access to anything and everything much faster, much easier, and you could receive help in a more expanded way that takes no effort. That's what my high-speed healing does. It helps people tap into the right side of the brain in a relaxation state where the thinking mind quiets down for most people, maybe not in the first session, but it starts to quiet down, and you start to tap into that place where there's no thought. Now, a lot of people meditate for that reason. They want to get to a place, that Zen place where they feel good and they've heard about all this, and there's just their head shuts up finally. Some people do plant medicine, and there's lots of things happening nowadays for people to artificially, from the outside, try to create that experience. I'm not here to tell you what to do with all of that. I will say that it's not always a happy place experience for everyone. And I have found that there's very natural ways to tap into this without having to take something and ingest it and have any potential risk. Now, that's what I'm all about. Like I have, since I was a little girl, I learned to meditate when I was 15. When I just heard the word meditate, I knew I had to do it. I didn't know why. I do now. It was part of my life purpose to help me practice a skill that would help me be able to help others. And one day, after many years of meditating, that's what happened. I became very aware. It wasn't something I read in a book. I became very aware. See, nothing's hidden from us. We just have to get quiet enough, long enough, and move out all these conditioned fears that we've been taught. Move, and you don't even have to move all of it out. You have to move enough of it out to create enough space to become aware that this big energy field has answers, has your answers, has my answers, has information. And it was revealed to me that everything's energy. I literally, and there were no drugs involved with this. I saw the walls vibrate. I saw my body made of light and energy. I knew the truth finally of the fact that everything is changeable and that we're all connected to each other. This oneness experience many people are looking for. We can access all of this in a safe, rapid way that requires no pills, no potions or lotions, no endless therapies. And we're here to evolve and grow because I believe we are energy beings. I believe it's spiritual being, call it spiritual being or energy being. I believe they're one and the same thing. I don't mean religion, but this is open to anyone who's religious. It doesn't exclude anyone. We are energetic beings, beings of light. What do you think spiritual is? It's love and light, friends. Call it whatever you want. But that's what we are. And we forgot. Or we momentarily forget. And we get sucked down into the low vibration of just the 3D human experience, which is a wonderful experience some of the time. But some of the time it can feel like hell right here. And that's where we need to change our vibrational information. We need to change our mind, our emotions, our energy field, and get it tuned up. All right, who is still with me? With me? Yes? Oh, I just love it. You guys, I could tell tonight was going to be a special night. What I'd like to do is ask you to please type into the chat, what brought you here tonight? What's your toughest question, your toughest issue? Why did you take the time out of your beautiful life, your busy life, to be here with me tonight? How can I serve you? What are you struggling with? Type away, please, so I can help further. And thank you for being so responsive. It's really, I can feel your energy. All right. So depression, RA pain is persistent. Okay. A rare skin condition that I've tried to heal for 10 years, plus digestion, sleep, and mental health issues. Physical pain, chronic migraines, SIBO, more pain. My heart is pounding and beating irregularly. Oh, yes. Overwhelm, arthritis, back pain, chronically ill since 2008. I want to get peace. I'm always having health anxieties and worry. Dizziness, Hodgkin's lymphoma, struggling with heart failure, lower body stiffness, pain, finances, trauma held in the body, weight loss. Third failed back surgery. Yeah, left me with more nerve pain than before. Intractable widespread pain, viral emotional trauma, insomnia, chronic illness, EMF sensitivity. Pain, overeating, leg wounds, indigestion. Okay. You see what I mean, everybody? These are the reasons. Oh, I'm so glad you're all here. Wow. I want you to know I'm reading a lot of things in the chat, and I've worked with people with every single thing that I have read and that I'm reading. And here's the first tip that I'm going to give you all tonight. Hang on, I'm just looking at all these amazing. I'm sorry you're all suffering, so I really am. My heart goes out, and I hope that you will keep coming back and reach out if you want to work with me further, because I'm telling you, there are solutions. And there's not one thing I've seen so far that someone I've worked with hasn't said, that's gone. Carpal tunnel, using my cell phone, chronic pain, leaky gut, candida, urine, EDS, chronic illness. Okay, wow. Yep. All right. So the first thing I want to say is those of you who have been given a diagnosis and you have a certain label, PTSD, fibromyalgia, arthritis, all the letters, all the things you've been told you have a thing. Okay. You don't have a thing. What you have, like Hashimoto's, okay, you don't have a label, this label. What you have, and what I recommend, is that you recognize what you have as a pattern. You have a pattern running, and the pattern is made up of a pattern of thinking, a pattern of beliefs, a pattern of ideas, a pattern of emotions, a pattern of actions that you're taking every day that may or may not be beneficial. Those three things. And information that's in your energy field that you may not even be aware of, that typically comes from your early childhood or your birth experience. It could even come from past lives if you believe in that. It's stored in your energy field. Your energy field is like a recording, like a video camera that's recording everything that's ever happened to you. And if you have not resolved the experiences, it gets stuck in your energy field, and it causes disturbances that show up over time in the physical. And then you complain of certain symptoms, and certain people that have similar symptoms exhibit a pattern that gets labeled as XYZ syndrome. And then you start to look at the research, the x-rays, the test results, and you start to believe more and deeper in the syndrome you've been told that you have. You believe in it. That means you're adding new thoughts, and you're giving energy to the very thing you're trying to get rid of. How many of you have ever been able to put out the fire in your fireplace by adding more logs to the fire and blowing on it? It doesn't go out. Every time you Google Lyme disease, every time you look it up again, you get, and I'm not telling you not to, because if going that route is bringing you peace, by all means, you need to go that route. And there's nothing wrong with discovering information. There's nothing wrong with it. But and most of the people that end up in my universe have tried a lot of things. They've been told you have XYZ. They follow the protocol they're given and nothing changes. Or then they go down the natural medical trail and they start to do natural things, and either nothing changes or they get temporary relief. If that's you, I would recommend that you start thinking about all of this differently and you drop the label. You drop the label because it's causing you to believe in something which gives it more power. Are you following me? Yeah. We have a belief in two powers very strongly in our world. We believe in health and we believe in disease. We believe in disease. Listen to what I'm saying. When we believe in disease, we need to start a war on it. So we start a war on this disease and a war on that disease and a war on that disease, and we fight it. What you're saying is you believe it has power over you, instead of recognizing that health is our natural state. And we need to do the opposite. We need to stop fighting. We need to learn to relax and release the things that are standing in the way of our natural state of health. This is a very different understanding. We're not going to fight and try to kill off. We're going to back off. We're going to take a deeper look at what logs are we putting on the fire that's adding to the problem. We're going to learn to go drop into that state of deep peace regularly, and we're going to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. We're going to calm down the mind. We're going to release the emotions. We're going to start to experience a different state of being. Notice I didn't say we're going to start thinking more and working harder to figure it out. No, we're going to start to have an experience of a different state of being. That's what it takes for change. Think about it for a minute. Isn't really what you're trying to avoid, escape, or heal from, isn't it a feeling you don't like? Think about that for a minute. It's either a feeling in your body or an emotional feeling, or a feeling of what happens when you can't write the check or the check bounces. It's a feeling that you don't like. Does that make sense? We're looking for a different state of being that feels different. And you will never get there by worrying more, overthinking, and staying in your head trying to figure it out. It sounds so contradictory or paradoxical, but we need to actually shift into the right side of the brain, calm down, relax more, not think more, fight harder, struggle. How many of you have trouble relaxing? Will anybody own it? Any type A's in here? Yeah, with the hands. Yep. So we have to develop some new skills. They may feel unfamiliar, uncomfortable. Most people say to me, but how? The first question I want to ask you is, first of all, are you willing? Because you can know how till, the cows come home. But if you're not willing to try some new things, nothing will change. You can know how, but not be willing to do it. You get that? That's the problem. We have to find out, why are we not willing? Now I'm not saying you're all not willing, but sometimes we think about things, but we're not willing because we're afraid of something. For example, we're afraid of feeling out of control. We're afraid of going into the unknown. We're afraid of all these emotions coming up. We're afraid we'll feel out of control and we won't be able to function. We're afraid we'll overwhelm other people. They'll say we're too much, we're too emotional. They'll say, get your act together and then, come or don't come back to work. We're afraid people will judge us, things like that. So I'm here to tell you that when you truly understand that the energy field is the key to both health and sickness, and that the strongest thing that's influencing your energy field and has influenced it and is currently influencing it and will influence it, the strongest factor. Anybody want to take a guess? What's the strongest factor that's influencing your energy field? Somebody type it in the chat. Thoughts? Nope. Fear. It's emotions. Emotions are the gas. You can have a brand new car, perfect condition, but with no gas, it won't run. You can think about driving all day, but the gas makes it go. Emotions are the gas. And that's the last thing anybody wants to talk about or feel, because they think it's going to overwhelm them, and it won't. Now, you may have stored it up for a long time, so there may be some work to do initially, but I promise you, as you learn to feel, you will heal. And you probably want a guide there with you to help you for a little while till you get comfortable with that. It's like learning to ride the bike. I remember my dad, right there, because I was scared for him to take the training wheels off. It's scary. Okay, so anything new. So what? So what? A little fear comes up. You'll learn that fear has no power over you either. It releases very quickly if you allow it to, if you're willing. And if you stop the thoughts that keep it going. Now, if you have trouble relaxing, which I'm sure many of you do, if not most of you do, the first thing I want to recommend that you start to practice today is taking a little bit of quiet time each day. You can all sit for 5 minutes, even if you're highly uncomfortable and you just can't wait and you're looking at your watch every 2 seconds. Doesn't matter. Sit for 5 minutes every day alone. Shut the door, turn the phone off, do not look at any devices. If you can do it in nature, that's even better. I want you to sit. And I want you to close your eyes, which I know for some people is actually very frightening. If you're too scared to close your eyes, I want you to just look down at the floor and turn your attention inward, inside yourself, and begin to listen to your body and what it's saying. It's trying to get you to pay attention to something. And so are your thoughts. So are your thoughts. That's okay. I want you to listen to the thoughts. I don't want you to try to stop the thoughts or judge the thoughts or judge the feelings in your body. I want you to just feel it, hear the thoughts, get to know yourself. Your relationship with your inner self is the most important relationship in your life and needs to be the strongest relationship you have. And most people who are uncomfortable take very little to zero time by themselves. They try to distract themselves from their thoughts and their feelings and their physical feedback. If you want to change, you're going to benefit by getting to know and listen to your inner being. It may take a little practice. Happy to help you with that. That's what my whole program, Pain-Free Living program, is about. It teaches you how to do this, gives you the support. So those of you who want a deep dive, reach out or check out my Pain-Free Living program. It gives you specifically in week 1, 2, 3, and 4, and you can go at your own pace. And it teaches you how to do this and helps you understand it better, because we can only do so much on a call like this. But there are techniques you can learn, just like going to the gym. You have to learn how to use the equipment or you hurt yourself. And you want to experience the high-speed energy healing. So I want to talk a little more about this energy field, because there's some misunderstandings about it. I'm not sending you energy or taking your energy. I'm not clearing you. There's a lot of other there's techniques out there. Mine is not a technique. And what happens with other energy healing techniques is not necessarily the same as this. This is quite different. And I can't 100% tell you why it's so different, other than several things. One, this is not a technique. It's actually a state of consciousness that I've discovered that I can access 24/7. And some of you are probably feeling the effects of a session right now, because you're just from listening to the sound of my voice. Because what did I say earlier? Energy, vibration, frequency, it's like sound waves. It's like music. It is sound. And some of you, all you have to do is hear my voice, and you'll start to feel the effects of a healing session. Some of you even just have to see the photograph, and you're getting invisible information just from a visual. People go to my website all the time and they say, oh my God, I like looked at your picture and I just felt this energy wash over me and I started to feel better. How is that possible? Because again, physics, you're getting information that you may not understand that's invisible. And my vibration is with me 24/7, and it holds vibrational frequencies that you're not accessing on your own that you need. So when you just simply say, yeah, I want to be on this call, I'm going to check that out. Or you're in a formal healing session, you're opening yourself. You don't even have to believe in it. So it doesn't require belief. It's just, you're opening yourself, you're exposing yourself to the frequencies that I bring in, that I'm in contact with 24/7. And this, for some people, has an instant effect, impact. You probably all felt something, or it made you curious. Why would you be curious? Because you're feeling something. Even the skeptics, they were willing. You might be a skeptic, that's fine. But you were willing on some level. Some part of you said, I'm going to check it out. There's a resonance. So this information field is actually communicating all the time, and it's outside the realm of that left brain linear time and space idea that we have, that we think everything exists in, and it doesn't. We can work outside the realm in what's called a non-local. This is a non-local field. Think about how your thoughts, instant, right? Your thoughts, they transfer instantly. I guess another good example would be your cell phone. I'll make a joke out of this, but your cell phone, you could talk to anyone anywhere in the world, right? But how? There's no wires, there's no tin can. There's a cell tower that makes the sound waves that connects you, right? But you don't know where that tower even is. But you're talking to people all over the world every day on this device. You're not questioning this. You're not thinking it's woo-woo. You're not thinking how, and it's probably harming you more than other things because of the low frequencies it emits. It's emitting frequencies. These are not healthy frequencies, but these are frequencies. And these frequencies communicate with the cell tower, with the other person. I'm your cell tower until you learn to access it on your own. I act like the cell tower does so that we're able to connect via the field. The scientists back in the 1980s they were physicists that actually classified this information field. They discovered it for the first time. It was a new field in physics that they added, that they didn't even think existed before this. And they called it an information field. It was also called a torsion field, a spin field. It's invisible, but the reason they gave it the name information field was because they discovered the field is informing the body. The field informs you all the time, every day, all day and night, even in your sleep. So you want to be aware and conscious of what you're allowing into your space, into your home, into your body, into your mind, into your mouth, and into your life. It does have an effect. And you can become more conscious of all of this. You wouldn't drink poison if you knew it was poison, right? And the things that you aren't aware of in your energy field, that's why I say this should be your first choice, because I became so sensitive, I could scan a field just like an MRI machine and feel where the disturbances are in the energy field around your body. And when we're in a group, we form one collective field. And I can scan the field and work in the field to harmonize the disturbances, but you get individual results. Now, if that isn't cool, I don't know what is. And it's made me so passionate that I haven't looked back since the day I discovered this. I have not looked back. I stopped everything else I was doing to earn a living from the day that this started, because I knew, like, this has got to get out there. This is the fastest, safest way to change. And the easiest way and the most relaxing way to tap into the state of consciousness, the feeling that you're all seeking. So, based on what I'm seeing in the chat, what has to happen is that you're patient long enough with your experience, because there are people who have very dramatic overnight instant results. But then there are people who don't. It takes longer. In every case, I will tell you this. This is why I say the three-pronged approach is so needed, because your daily thoughts and your emotions are affecting your energy field. And so you've got to learn how to do the self-care so that if I affect your energy field for the better, you don't bring back the very thing that you're trying to get rid of. It does require work on your part. You have to be willing to become conscious, more conscious of how you're using your mind. It's like no one would send you out to drive a car if you didn't know which was the brake and which was the gas pedal, and how to use the steering wheel and how to obey the driving rules. You wouldn't drive safely that way. You've got to drive your vehicle safely by understanding how to use your mind and what to do with those emotions and how to find them, because you're storing them up, many of you. You're storing them up, and over time, they show up as a symptom, and the body's trying to tell you the story of your life, and you're not interpreting it correctly or at all. You're just trying to get rid of how it feels, but it gets worse and worse because it's really trying to get your attention, and it doesn't want to be turned off till you get what you're supposed to get. So I will also share tonight, the left side of the body is the feminine energy side. The right side of the body is the masculine energy side. If you have, now I'm generalizing, this is not going to apply 100% to everyone, but I'm generalizing so you get a deeper sense of how energy works. The left side of your body, the feminine side, is also the receiving side. The masculine energy side, the right side, is the giving, the doing. The feminine is more of the idea, the creator, the creation, creative, the flowing, the feeling nature. And the masculine energy is more about the doing, get it done, check it off the list, bring home the bacon, go get it, go out there, do it, lead. we all have both masculine and feminine energy, but are you using them properly? I find a lot of people have difficulty with receiving, men and women both. I find some people have terrible time giving. Some people overgive. Some people overthink. Everything about energy has to be in harmonious balance. If you're way over here or way over there, there's going to be a problem in the physical. The other thing that happens is the body literally is trying to tell you the story of what's happening in your life. So if you have, for example, a ton of pain in your right shoulder or down your right arm, or maybe the whole side of your right body, just horrible pain. This is just one example. And if I ask you, has there been a male in your life that has caused you a lot of pain or that you feel responsible for and burdened by and pained by this person? 9 out of 10 people would tell me yes, often 10 out of 10. Their parts of the body light up to reflect the various issues that you have not resolved with people, with yourself, with your own masculine energy. A lot of women nowadays, since for many, many years, a lot of women have been out in the workforce, and they have, in many cases, become the sole provider. And they're working all the time, and they're taking care of their kids, and they're doing the laundry, and they're doing the shopping, and they're exhausted. And they are using their masculine energy a lot, like all the time. And then they wonder why these pains show up, or the chronic fatigue shows up, or they start to notice they're not sleeping well and their thyroid, and they're told that it's their thyroid or their adrenals, or their they start losing their hair, or the weight, they start gaining weight and they can't figure out why. And no matter what they eat or don't eat or how much they exercise, see, it all gets disrupted. Yes, the real hormones, the physical, they get disrupted when we're out of balance, more in one energy than the other. Everything in nature, I'm going to go back to this again, is very simple. There's periods of activity and periods of rest, periods of growth and periods of rest. Plants don't grow straight up. Did you know that? They don't grow straight up. They actually grow and then they retreat. And then they grow again. It's fascinating. We are part of nature. I cannot emphasize that enough. You would learn more by laying in the grass and hugging a tree than Dr. Googling. Take a detox from Dr. Google and go out in nature for a week and see what you discover. Things would become more clear. So let me just check again. All right, so a lot of the things that I see in the chat also give me a strong indication that you believe you're a victim. Things like, people want to destroy me, and I'm afraid to eat food, and insomnia often is so many things. There's just so many things I see here. Perverts and drunks keep pushing themselves at me. See, when we've come from a place where we feel like a victim, instead of recognizing that we have real power, and it requires speaking up, setting boundaries, knowing who we are, feeling worthy, being okay to say no. And no is a complete sentence, by the way. I have found a lot of people are lost in a sea of people pleasing. That was one of my biggest problems. The people pleasing and trying to please others and putting others' needs ahead of your own If you do that long enough, I guarantee you're going to have pain symptoms and some kind of disease or chronic fatigue. It's, this is not, this is actually just so common. I just saw a chat from someone in the chat saying, I'm in amazement. The right side of my body is a disaster. And you just validated what I know is a problem in my life. See, that's why, you know, please, you guys use me. I'm here to help you. You're most likely just, you haven't been taught how to interpret correctly the messages your body is giving you. You don't see how your own state of consciousness is part of the problem, and you're not making the right changes in your life. You're thinking it's happening to you. You have no control over it. You're just powerless. No, you aren't. You may feel like it. You may have been taught to be powerless, and we may need to go back and clean up that childhood programming. Yeah, that's very common. But that's all changeable, my friends. And I know because that's what happened to me. And I got to a place in my life years ago where I felt so powerless that I wanted to end it all. And I could not stand how I thought and how I felt. And all I wanted was something to numb it out. And that's what I did for a long time till it almost killed me. And then I woke up. Thank you, God. I woke up to the truth and I started to work on myself, and a little bit at a time. All the tools that I teach today came from my own experience. I didn't make this stuff up. I didn't read it in a book. I went through a health hell, and that led me to my healing journey. And then I woke up as to what worked for me. And then I started working with others. And then I started seeing what worked and what didn't work. And I keep refining, I keep learning. I stay open. There's not one size fits all. There are certain steps that fit all, and we all need to do them, but there isn't, you all have your own answers inside of you. So the work isn't for me to tell you what to do. It's to draw out of you your own answers that are in you until you recognize that and you begin to trust that. And a lot of you don't hear the right answers because you've been so programmed from growing up, from education, from religion. And I'm not here to bash any of it. I'm just saying some of it isn't true. And you may have thought it was true. And then you started making all your decisions based on that and feeling bad because of what you learned. And then it affected you. And we have to unlearn some things if you want to really heal and feel alive and like you deserve to be here. You're not a bad person. I can tell you right now, you're not a bad person, but I find at the root of a lot of disease is that people don't feel worthy. They don't even feel they deserve to heal. They feel bad about something, mostly themselves, things they've done. We have to heal, clear all this up, clean it up. It's like the garage that we haven't looked in for a year or two, and we got to clean it up. We got to throw stuff out. We got to sweep out the cobwebs of the mind, and we have to learn to release those painful emotions that we've been holding in, trying to look good. Get approval. The only approval you need is your own approval. That's it. It doesn't matter what anyone else thinks. In fact, I learned a long time ago, what you think of me is none of my business. And if you think other people have judgments about you and you feel bad, or you don't like them because they judge you, the only reason you have a problem with it is because you resonate with it on some level. So the healing typically is about you to you and me to me. It's about within ourselves. It's not about changing other people and anyone outside ourselves. It's interesting how people magically seem to change when we change our inner experience. So, my friends, I don't know how it can already be 6:11, but it is. So I want to, first of all, again, thank you so much for being here, for staying so open. very few people have dropped off the call. We've been here an hour and 10 minutes. It's a long time to pay attention, and I can tell you're there. I can feel you present. So thank you for that. And thank yourself for being present for yourself and for being open to a new way of thinking. I would like to make sure you all know that if you go to, let me type it in the chat here. Hang on, my microphone is in the way. I'm going to type in the chat. If you go to internationalcpi.com/PFLP, I just put it in the chat. internationalcpi.com/PFLP, which stands for Pain Free Living Program. There is a special way offer there as a way of saying thank you. You will have access to getting my Pain Free Living program at half off. And that's when you sign up for 3 months of live calls with me. And tomorrow I'm doing the high-speed healing. So if you do sign up today, you'll be jumping right into the healing session tomorrow. And you can read all about the program there online. Those of you who say, I just don't do groups, I get it. You might want a one-on-one with me, or you might want to work with me, deeply one-on-one. There's services on the website at internationalcpi.com. I still take one-on-ones. I tend to work privately for 1 to 3 months with the people that are most urgent. And you will fill out a questionnaire. I can't take everybody. There's only so many people in the, hours in the day. So you'll fill out the, well, you can't, everybody can sign up for the introductory session. I will say that, everyone. I don't filter that out. But if you want to work with me deeply for longer, you apply, fill out the questionnaire, and it's most urgent, first come, first serve. Let's put it that way. I'd like to help everyone. So, I try to say yes to as many as I can. And usually I'm able to do it. You might have to wait a little bit. With the group, anyone can join and hop in there right away. And so a lot of people will do both. They'll have a private with me and they'll jump into the group. So I just want to say, if, I often hear people say, well, I've tried everything. And I know I have felt like that myself. But if you haven't tried this and you haven't stuck with this, you haven't tried everything, and you owe it to yourself. Because if you haven't seen the success story page, go there on the website, on my website. It will blow your mind, the things people have experienced. There are videos and written testimonials, and it will hopefully, if nothing else, just give you hope that you can change. And if you may need to take some action, I know it's scary because if you've tried a lot of things, but yes, Rhonda, if you have structural issues, yes. Okay, I'm going to say this again before we end tonight. And you're welcome. Thank you for all these beautiful compliments. You're so beautiful. And I appreciate, and I love hearing words of appreciation. It's my love language. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Angie and Jean and Susan and all those with the comments. Oh, and Anna, let me give you the URL again is internationalcpi.com and then /PFLP. It stands for Pain Free Living Program. Yeah. Those of you who are thinking, yeah, but my issue is physical, it's structural. I'm going to say it again. Everybody listen closely. The physical body is not physical. It's made of energy. It's holding a pattern of energy. It's made of light. That's all changeable. When you are exposed to the right frequencies, the right vibration, call it whatever you want, your physical body can change. I have watched people who went back and the x-rays showed no more bulging discs. I had a 92-year-old woman grow 2 inches when her spine completely straightened out in the first session. She had to raise the height of her walker. I have had people with ulcers and tumors and cysts tell me they're gone. I have had people with scoliosis, or so they were told. You see, the physical is a reflection of the energy body. We change that energetically, the physical must change. Now, I don't make guarantees and won't. So if you're coming expecting a magic wand in one session, you're in the wrong place. Your consciousness is affecting your physical structure. Your spine tells the story of your life. If you're not open to what I'm going to teach you and ask you to learn and practice, then even if everything changed, you could still bring it back. So don't come to work with me if you expect me to fix you and you don't have to lift a finger. Not for me. You may get that. You may get Deborah's magic wand, but I want you to understand you need to become a conscious master of your life. So you aren't dependent on me. I'm not here to make you dependent on me. I want you to be a free being in every area of your life and feel empowered and free to live life so that if something happens to you, you know what to do about it. You're not afraid to live your life. You're not living in a bubble or a closet. You're not afraid to live your life. With that, my friends, I know who you are. I will hold the space to know who you are for you until you get it on your own. And so whatever it is that you think is too much or too sick or too long or too this or too that, it won't scare me at all. Bring it, bring it. And let's work on it. And let's live a free life together and have this planet become what it was intended to be, a beautiful, free, loving Garden of Eden. And thank you so much for being here, everybody. Bye for now. Let's unmute and say goodbye to everyone. Let's see. Let me see here. Unmute. Ask all to unmute. There we go.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
God bless.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Deborah.
Bye,
Thank you.
Deborah.
Good night.
Deborah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
everyone.
Thank
Wonderful
you.
reminder.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Nice to hear your
you.
voices.
Thank you.
Thank you.